Hey guys, Chelsea from Attention to Details, and today we're going to be doing a little bit of a different video. Oftentimes, I just share with you guys the products and techniques on how I work on my customers' vehicles, but today we're going to actually break it down to how much does it actually cost to apply a ceramic coating to a vehicle. These are all really important questions that customers as well as detailers need to understand to know why the cost is the way that it is. So today, we're going to take a look at how much it costs to apply a ceramic coating. Now, obviously, if you're using different chemicals or more affordable chemicals, your prices are going to be different. But it's very important as detailers for us to understand what our costs for materials are. Now, when we see tools or equipment, we're not going to necessarily have to purchase one of those every single ceramic coating. So while we're not going to include that in the cost for this detail, I wanted to kind of share the prices for each of these tools or pieces of equipment because they do matter in the long run if you're thinking of initial startup fees. But even if you're an enthusiast or a weekend warrior who maybe you think you can do it more affordably than a professional detailer, I'm including the cost for all these materials because that goes into the cost that a professional detailer is going to take into consideration when they are charging their customers X amount for the ceramic coating. Prep is key with getting the most out of our ceramic coating. So after doing a high pressure rinse, we did our foaming pre-soak with Multi-Star. It's a high pH soap to help loosen and soften all the dirt. We're using our detail brushes around all of our emblems and tight spaces to safely remove any of the dirt in those tight nooks and crannies. Then we're going to do a contact wash using a plush microfiber. We do have some tar on this vehicle, so we're going to go ahead and do a tar treatment so that way we can remove that before we do our clay towel treatment. This will just help remove the risk of severe marring because that tar with a clay towel is definitely going to mar the paint. This vehicle is actually in pretty good condition. We only have some mild swirls on it that we need to dial it in before we do our coating. You don't necessarily have to polish before applying a ceramic coating, but you do at minimum need to do a thorough wash and decontamination. So we're going to be using an iron remover as well as a clay towel to chemically and mechanically remove any bonded contaminants that are on the paint. Other than the ceramic coating, the iron remover is the most expensive chemical typically that you're going to need during the prep step. Most people will spray it all over the vehicle looking for that really dramatic purple reaction, but you don't need to use that much product. To save some money, just spray one spray to the panel, one spray to the clay towel, work it into about a 4x4 section, and you're going to be able to save a lot of money using it that way. But once we get everything decontaminated, we're going to give it a good rinse, get everything thoroughly dry before we come in and do our polish step. Like I said, you don't necessarily need to polish the paint, but should you have any protection left behind, or maybe you just want to dial in the paint before you lock it in with the ceramic coating, this is where you're going to want to polish. Now we're using a battery-powered cordless polisher from SPTA, along with our platinum hybrid polish and a yellow Rupes foam pad. This is pretty hard paint, but we don't need to do a ton of correction. So a yellow foam pad followed by this hybrid polish is going to be perfect to be able to pretty much perfect our paint. After polishing, we're going to use a rinseless wash to safely remove all of our polish residue. Inspect in between each panel, make sure we have the level of correction that we're looking for, and just keep moving panel by panel around the vehicle. So while we've discussed the chemicals and the tools necessary to prep a vehicle for a ceramic coating, what we haven't discussed is how much it actually costs for the labor. And there's a lot of variables that can go into consideration, from how many years experience the person has been detailing to the market that they work in. It's going to vary from town to town, even sometimes from detailer to detailer. Typically, I charge anywhere from $75 to $90 an hour. And some of you might be thinking that's a lot. Some of you might be thinking that's not enough. That's the big expanse that can happen with detailing based on the market that you are working in. But for me, I try to be within that $75 to $90 range because I'm taking into consideration the tools, the chemicals, the taxes that I need to pay, as well as the experience and the knowledge that I'm bringing to the table. After polishing everything and getting our surface as clean as possible, we're going to remove the polishing oils with our panel prep, and now we're ready to apply our ceramic coating. Now this is where you can really choose whatever coating you want to work with. For me, I personally have found the McKee's 37 graphene coating to be extremely user-friendly and affordable. A 4-ounce bottle, I typically can get 4 vehicles with one bottle, and it runs me about $38 per vehicle. But there are some ceramic coatings that you might get 1 to 2 vehicles per bottle. And if you're doing a truck or a larger vehicle, you might only get 1 vehicle per bottle. So you have to take into consideration what coating you're going to use, how much of that coating you need for that vehicle. And that's going to all affect the bottom price for the ceramic coating job. But speaking of price, you might be sitting there wondering, okay, we get it. There's a lot of variables to take into consideration, but how much did this ceramic coating actually cost? Well, from start to finish, I ended up putting a little over 8 hours into this entire detail. We had 2 hours on the interior to clean it and apply a leather coating on our seats, and then 6 hours on the exterior to do our wash, decontamination, polish, and apply our ceramic coating. I ended up charging the customer a little over $1,000 for this entire service. Some of you might be thinking, wow, that is a lot of money. I could never, ever afford that. And some professional detailers might hear that and actually say, you didn't charge enough. And sometimes that's the frustrating thing with a detailing market that can fluctuate so much from one market to the next. And that's where you really need to understand your products, how much they cost, and what you're able to bring to the table for your customers. But for those of you that might be thinking, you know what, I can do this myself for way less, we're going to put the links to all the products that I used in this detail in the video description box down below. But whether you're an enthusiast looking to do this for yourself, or maybe a beginner detailer who are trying to understand how much you need to charge your customers for a service like that, hopefully this gives you a little bit of insight to understand how to calculate and understand the cost that actually goes into the preparation and application of applying a ceramic coating to your vehicle. I actually ran into this customer in his vehicle the other day. He said it is so much easier for him to maintain his vehicle, and he said it was worth every penny for him to have this applied. So for those of you that whether you're looking to have this service applied to your own vehicles, or maybe you want to try to tackle it yourself, hopefully this video gives you a little bit more insight into understanding how much a ceramic coating really costs. But if you have any questions about detailing or about the products that we used in this video, let me know your questions in the comments section down below. And if you guys enjoy authentic content like this, where we share with you guys 100% our honest opinion, give us a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so that way you don't miss any of our future details. But thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you in the very next detail.